Hey everyone, on today's Training Tuesday, we're going to be going over the fives drill. This should be pretty interesting because you're basically competing against yourself. We have firing lines at 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 yards. You set your own par time based on the speed that you do your first string of fire in, and then your par time gets a little bit longer. Basically, you add a second for each step back that you take. We're going to be firing 5 rounds at each string. All rounds should be in the A zone. I'm going to be using my M18-ish gun. Basically, I bought a fire control unit and then an M18 kit, but it's like the Canadian version, so it doesn't have the thumb safety. Still pretty new to this gun, and I also don't have an optic on it yet, so we'll see how I'm able to do with this gun. But enough talking, let's get set up. Hey guys, just walking down to the 5-yard line. We're gonna have fun, right? Even if I don't do well. All right, so we're here at the 5-yard line. If you got the downrange camera there in front of you, not too far downrange from us here because we're only at 5 yards. So on the shot timer, I'm gonna draw, fire 5 rounds, and we're gonna use that time to set the par time for all the firing positions behind me. Make sure we're ready to go here. All right. All right, so now here is where the temptation is going to be to kind of sandbag it to make things easier for yourself moving forward. But we got 3.32 seconds. My first shot was a 198, had a little bit of fumbling out of the Safariland holster there, but 3.32 is going to be our first, our baseline now for the rest of these shots. All right, so now we're at the 10-yard line. Our time to beat here is 3.32 plus 1 second, so 4.32 for this string of 5 shots. All right, and see what the time was, 4.26, so just under the par time, but it looks like I might have had one round go a little bit wide there. But let's go ahead and move on back to the, was that 15-yard line. All right, I'll tell you, these targets look further and further away when you are used to shooting with red dot equipped pistols. Maybe I've broken myself, but let's see what we can do here at the 15-yard line. So we have 3.32 plus 2 seconds, so 5.32 is our par time for this string of fire. Looks like I had a couple more shots go outside the A zone. Hopefully we at least did okay on time. 5.53, so we're also slower and less accurate. Oh man, let's go ahead and just finish this off. Let's move back to the 20-yard line, and I have a feeling this isn't gonna get much better. All right, so we've got our 3.32 plus 3 seconds, so 6.32. Wish me luck. I'm not sure if we've got more outside, but we did do a little bit better on time. So 5.63, so still had about half a second to spare for those 5 shots. And considering my first shot was a 2.61, again, kind of fumbling off the draw there, that's all right. You guys know better than I do whether or not those were all A zone. All right, now let's move back to 25. All right, again, 25 yards looks like a real long way with irons. I might, after this, run this with my carry pistol, which has a red dot on it, just to see how much of a difference that may or may not make. But, so now we have 3.32 plus 4 seconds, so 7.32 is our par time for these 5 shots here at 25 yards. All right, definitely being more deliberate. Looks like I've got one shot into the shoulder here. and 6 seconds flat. So I could have spent a little bit more time on those. Time flies when you're having fun though. So let's walk back down to the target and talk about how we did. All right, so I was just counting the shots to make sure this represents all the rounds fired and I didn't have any off target. Again, you guys were watching the B camera that whole time, so you know more about where these happened. I know this one was from that last stringer fire, at least I'm fairly confident that was. Overall, I'm okay with how I did. Again, I'm still fairly new to this M18 SIG P320, but it's definitely different. The sight picture, the iron sights are large, so you don't get as precise of a sight picture. Now I know the gun itself is accurate. The standard for accuracy on these things is pretty ridiculous, but I could definitely clean this up. Now, like I said too, with the part-time, I definitely had more than a second to spare on that last string of fire, so I could have taken my time a little bit more to try to bring those shots into the middle. But I think this is a really interesting drill to do because, again, you're competing against yourself. You're setting your own standard and then continuing that as you push back. So this isn't one of those things where it's like, oh, well, that sub-second draw is never going to be attainable. Again, you set the part-time, but again, don't try to sandbag it on that first string of fire just to give yourself more time as you move back. All right, because that went relatively poorly, I want to try that again, but with my carry pistol. So this is the P365X macro. I've got one of the Gideon Optics Judge red dots on top. I definitely have a lot more time behind red dots recently than I do pistols with straight irons. So I want to see if that makes a difference, A, in speed, and B, in accuracy. We had like 5 shots at least out of the A zone out of 25 rounds fired with that M18. I want to see if I can do better with this one. And this will definitely be speaking to training being more important than equipment, hopefully, but probably not, because the equipment in this case is going to be setting me up for success. So again, we're going to start at 5 yards onto that target. I've got it all taped up, as you'll see on the downrange camera, and we'll start moving back. And again, we're going to be setting our part time with this first string of 5 shots. All right, so here we are at 5 yards. On the beep. Okay, definitely more accurate. 418, had a little bit of trouble picking up my dot. It's actually slower than I was with irons. Interesting, but definitely more accurate. Let's move back. All right, so time was 418, so we are looking for a time of 518 on this string of fire. All right, again, definitely more accurate and picked up my dot a lot faster. 389, so actually faster. Just for grins and gigs, I'm going to use that as my new part-time since it's actually faster than my first string of fire, thanks to picking up my dot faster. So with 389 on this one, we're looking at 589 on the 15-yard target. All right, 589 is the goal here. All right, I got one that looks like it's dangerously close to being out of the A zone, and we did 4.63 as the time on that one, so definitely well under the part time. I'm going to top off my magazine, and we'll start at the 20-yard line. All right, now here at the 20-yard line, we're looking for 6.89. Yeah, 6.89 as my part time. Fired one extra round. I'm gonna have to top off this mag again. Even with that extra round though, we were at 6.42. Fifth shot was at 5.61, so still well under the part time. I was consciously trying to slow down on that just to keep the accuracy up. Let's move back to 25. All right, so we're looking at 7.89, how appropriate, as my part time here. So let's see if I can slow myself down and try to get all back into the A zone here. All right, I don't know how that went. I think I got opposite shoulder 650, so I definitely had, you know, more than a second to spare. So I probably should have slowed down. All right, well, again, you guys know better than I do because of that the downrange B camera down here, but I know starting out we kept it real nice and tight. Overall, the group is definitely tighter than the group with irons, but it's interesting because with the M18, I was kind of pulling to the right. With this, I'm kind of pushing to the left. Do with that information what you will. I also had a shoulder shot in both in both strings of fire. I got 2 that are touching the line, so I only have 4 outside of the A zone, and I know most of those came from the shots further back. So I guess overall, the speed was definitely faster with the red dot. My tightness of the group was definitely a lot better close in comparison to the M18. But maybe overall didn't make a huge difference. Again, it was faster, but only marginally so. And, you know, it was definitely slower at the 5-yard line where you saw me struggle to pick up that red dot. I don't know what to take from this, guys, but I'll let you draw your own conclusions. Guys, I really think that drills like this are worth practicing because, again, you find where your failure points are. If you want to, in between each string of fire, you can mark each one so you know as you moved back where your shots were falling so that you can press yourself in the future to try to bring those groups in. But definitely a lot of fun. I highly recommend getting a deck of cards like these for yourself. And if you want to win a deck of cards, you can either run this or any other drill that we've done so far, upload it to YouTube or Instagram, and then tag me and Drill Index in it, or email me a link if it's on YouTube, just so that you can be entered to win. We do 1 giveaway a month. I've been really bad about keeping on top of that. I'm not to make too many excuses. I'm switching jobs. I'm doing a bunch of stuff right now, but not a good excuse enough. We definitely need to get some of those decks of cards out. The people who won, at least for last month, you know, or sorry, for August, you know who you are, but I haven't gotten your information to Drill Index. And the September winner, I'll be picking you here. Well, I think there's, again, only 1 person that submitted for that, so you're going to be winning. But again, I'll try to get those decks of cards sent out to you guys soon. Again, this allows you and your buddies to have things to actually practice at the range instead of just mag dumping into trash, so you can actually be pushing yourself to become a better shooter. I can't emphasize that enough, guys. This stuff is really important. If you want people to see these videos and help me and be incentivized to keep making them, share these with your range buddies, because YouTube is not sharing these very widely. So if any help is much appreciated. But anyway, as always, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.